I want us to be really slow to label us saying, oh, I have an anxious child.
Yeah.
And remember, kids are like sponges. They're going to absorb their environment. And so if I'm going, I have an anxious child, they're going to begin to absorb that from you.
Yeah.
So slow to label, but let's look at the symptoms we may be seeing. And maybe for an anxious kid, maybe you see a younger kid that goes, they just don't want to go to school. There's a lot of resistance. You're seeing just a general disconnection with them.
Mm-hmm.
You may also see some sleep issues where they're complaining of nightmares or they're complaining that they're not sleeping.
Yeah.
So we just start to add up these different, if you will, symptoms, and then we watch it over time. Are these symptoms getting worse that I'm noticing? Am I seeing extreme mood changes? Things they would normally enjoy doing, suddenly they don't want to do, or friends they would normally want to just go and be with, you see them less excited about that. Anxiety has a physical component. You could have a kid who's worried about certain things, worried about fitting in, worried about a test grade, but they're worried. It's more in their cognitive thought. But now anxiety has crossed a line where you're seeing some physical concerns. So then I would say, okay, something's going on here. But be careful about panicking, okay?
Right.
As a parent, about panicking if you see things that look like anxiety.
In a home, usually you have an anxious parent potentially that is there, especially if there's a genetic component to it.
Right.
And so then that parent's going, oh no, my child's going to struggle with this. I struggled with it. And there is a panic mode to it because we want the best for our kids.
Absolutely.
We absolutely want the best. But I think there's a place as parents, as we're beginning to see those smaller, or the bigger or small symptoms, or even just an anxious child, where we can step in supportively.
Right.
And begin to give our kids the tools and the resiliency to not run away from anxiety, but how do you step towards it? And you're being gentle along the way. That gets tricky.
It does get tricky. So I'm gonna ask gentle questions, but I really want to know what's going on for them. Slow to give advice.
Yeah. Totally. We got to get in that emotional conversation first, right?
Yeah.
Where you're saying, hey, the way you see it, it makes sense. And you need to have time for anxiety because it does take a lot of time to go against your very own brain, especially for a child.
Absolutely.
And so here's some extreme cases, though, Greg. So let's, just in reality for parents. One is, I don't want to go to school.
Right.
Refusing to go to school. They're older. Let's say middle school, high school. That's one. Another one that I've faced over the years is selective mutism.
Okay.
Where they won't talk.
Right.
Only to certain people.
Okay.
And they select that out of that anxious response. Another one's eating disorders.
Okay.
They kick in. Eating disorders or obsessive compulsive type of behaviors to try to control life. Those are kind of more on the disorder side. So let's step into that one. Let's deal with the school anxiety, because this is a big one these days, and especially after school shootings and other things that happen within the schools, or bullying, or kids that feel very insecure, have a social anxiety. Let's coach parents. Let's help parents in that moment.
I would ask, again, the questions. Can you help me understand what's the last couple of days been like at school? Just have them describe. Can you describe? I want to know, is there bully behavior, emotional abuse? Yeah. Did something happen? Did they feel shamed? I'm going to understand. And so I'm going to really be asking true questions. It's really easy to get frustrated with the kids and just go, no, you're going to school.
You got to go to school because it's very inconvenient.
The more that you can show understanding, the more they're going to share with you. And maybe something did happen that you need to know about.
Right, yeah.
So we just want to open up that avenue. And maybe the more, you probably notice, the more you pressure them to tell you something, the less information you get. Kids are their worst self-critic. They really are. And so speaking those words of life into them, speaking words of comfort, I love, they need empathy, and with that empathy, they're going to feel more connected.
Yes.
So it's not uncommon for a kid to have some concerns occasionally at school and not wanting to go.
Right. So normalizing that part of it.
Right.
Yeah,
so, but I'm looking for a pattern. Or is this not going away? What's really going on here?
And I think to add to that, because those are great points, I would say that giving them the reassurance that they've got the tool set
to
face whatever's there. giving them that mindset of resilience that I'm going to come back. Or they say, yeah, I'm not good enough to try out for the basketball team. I was in PE. Kids made fun of me. I missed a shot. I airballed it.
Right.
I don't want to try out. I just don't want to do it. The failure's super threatening.
Okay.
You go, hey, you got this. You got the skill set. You get to grow every day. You can practice. You can get better. That's the beauty of being a human being. You've got connections just flowing now at this age, and you can learn languages. You can learn all kinds of things. It just takes time and practice. So let's figure out a solution and help equip you and find the tools instead of running away from it, because there's too much power in your brain.
Yes.
Let's figure out how you step towards that.
Asking them, is this something that's important to you? Is this something you would like to do?
Yes.
Just engage them in it.
That's a very good question, because they may not like it.
Right. Sometimes kids are forced into being in a certain sport, and it's not the one they enjoy. Our kids are also going to excel where they feel they fit in.
Or where they feel competent.
Well,
right,
and then they'll feel competent. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Greg, let's talk about a child that's struggling with the OCD, the obsessive compulsive
OCD
type of behaviors.
Okay.
Let's look at that one.
Depending on the age, they might have learned this from somewhere. And also, every behavior serves a purpose. And so we're back to anxiety. OCD's about releasing some anxiety. So I have to do these behaviors in order to feel better.
Yes.
Doesn't really work, but I think I feel better.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to really be working with, well, what is the anxiety? What's really going on? This is just a coping mechanism.
Let's actually talk about the help that parents can get. As far as just what would be some very practical help parents can get for the OCD.
I think there can be, with kids, we're especially cautious and careful.
Okay.
And a lot of that depends on the age. And I don't want to teach the kid that a pill solves everything. But if things are getting to a degree where they're pretty challenging and I need help over the bridge for a period of time, we've seen that to be helpful. But I want to get them outside, and I want them to have an experience of feeling some exertion.
And I'm glad you're mentioning outdoors. I mean, studies have proven that the outdoors naturally reduces anxiety for kids and adults. Just being out in nature, and being with God's creation, that interaction where we can shut off the world and be there, present, literally calms anxiety. I've seen families do fun type of workouts with young kids. I know as our family, we did hikes, camping, we did workouts as a family. I still do workouts with my kids. So important for kids that are anxious to know the benefits. The brain needs exercise, gets oxygen up there, it reduces anxiety, studies have shown it. So as parents, come with the idea that there needs to be some type of exercise for your anxious child. This is a way to get it all out. When they're stressed out,
they're anxious, we always want to integrate movement in.
Right.
Always get them moving.
Yeah.
Change the room they're in, get them moving.
And mixing in some playfulness.
Oh, and having fun with it.
To kind of relax the world around them. The last one is the word trust. How we're establishing trust. I love Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. And if you think about anxiety, you're leaning on your own understanding to try to figure things out and control everything. But then it says, in all your ways acknowledge him and he will straighten your paths. Then in Isaiah 26:3, it says to trust him. He keeps him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on him. This mind is a place that is so tricky, and it tricks us all the time. There's so many things around us that we misread.
That's good.
But the word trust, especially in the day today with social media, with news, and with the questions that begin to come up for teens, that creates so much uncertainty and a lack of trust. I think as parents, step towards that word. How much do you trust each other in your home? Where have you lost trust? And how does that create some feelings of anxiety?
Right.
And if we truly trusted that God is with us, then that trust gives you a sense of resilience where you're going, all right, God, you're here with me. I think I can step towards this. Let's help kids in their imagination not go towards scary things, but towards trust. In an imperfect way, leaning in with them, being patient with it. It takes time. But that investment is so amazing.
And their trust with us is that foundation. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said.
Thank you, Greg.
Oh, good to be with you today.
If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you leave some comments. I love to hear from you. I want some questions so we can dialogue back and forth. This is a conversation with you. See you again soon.